It is a year to the day since Sam Sherman drafted his Best Ball Mania winning team, or so the internet is telling me. There's loads going on this June 1st. AJ Brown, Miles Garrett, we're going to get to it all as well. Some So You Think You Can Tout stuff. But we had to bring in Nez. About this time of year, we always like to get Nez from Badge Bros in for a draft. Nez, how are you finding this fine June 1st?
Tom, it is so hot over here. It is insanely hot in Texas today. It's at that point where like you can't really go outside, which is just the worst. And I'm in. What's funny too is like I'm in the hottest part of my house because like the sun is now, it's making its way to the west as it does, and it's pounding this office. But my wife runs cold, so I can't blast the AC like I want to. So if you see me like beading sweat, just know that I'm suffering.
Okay.
You got to get your Shaq towel, bro. You're just going to be like,
I usually keep one. It's not here.
Hey, man,
dude, it is
cardio club time, though, isn't it? So let's keep that going. And Nez, didn't I see that you've got a walking treadmill at the desk now?
Yeah, I've got like a small walking pad, but it's like not ideal for somebody who is like 6'2". Because it's not very long. But my wife just got like a bigger walking pad. It's almost like a mini treadmill. It's like an in between the walking pad and a treadmill. It's in like a different area of our house, and I know for a fact that I'm going to use it more than she is. So I'm excited about that because I also like to do it on my phone. I don't want to cheat. Like, you know what I mean? Like the spirit of the cardio club is that it's done on the phone, and something feels dirty about using all my overlays and stuff while I do the cardio. So I'm excited to get back into the real grind.
It's like going to the gym with a trainer who does the workout for you. Like what is the point?
Yeah, no. It's a whole part of the exercise. You have to think while you work out. Like it's a multi-layered thing, right? Like we can't be shortcutting ourselves at any point in the cardio club. So I am like a devout truther and traditionalist for the cardio club. I'm not doing any at the desk.
I love that. To me, the cardio club is about getting in the zone, like finding your flow. Like forget all the noise. It's you, it's your phone, and it's surviving this cardio session. And you get so locked into surviving the cardio session that you're just like, what are the best plays? Mm-hmm. What do I know that is true? And the second you lock into overlays, you're getting fed all this information it's not what is true to you, what you know as ball.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to underestimate how amazing it would be for a cardio club draft shipping BBM. Like that would be elite for content purposes. All these kind of people talking, all the perfect things, and inevitably with a cardio club where you've accidentally slipped, made a pick, you're hanging out of your ass. That's what best ball's about.
Yeah, exactly. You're a runner, Tom, right?
Yeah, I do. I don't go beyond half marathons, but I pretty, most
That's
years
still
I
so
tend
impressive.
to do a half marathon, which is up here in Newcastle, the Great North Run, one of the biggest half marathons in the world, and it's pretty cool. Last year I did it dressed as a hot dog, but this year not quite committed to where I'm going to do it. I've been trying to get back into the gym and just actually, because running as good as it is, it's not incredible for losing weight, I find. So
it's not because I get so hungry. But
I need a good run.
Yeah, I admire that.
Well, that's it. And Tyler keeps threatening to come over for our fantasy social event that we're having.
Oh
in August.
my god!
And I can't stand next to Tyler and be carrying a few extra pounds. So
no, sure. I've done it, and it's it's humbling.
I may not be tall, but I will ab mog the fuck out of you.
You will.
Watch your ass, whoever you are.
You will.
Well, look, there's definitely going to be a time for talking some So You Think You Can Tout towards the end of the show, but it seems a bit crazy if we don't talk some AFC North when we've got Nez here, my good friend being a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
And what was your kind of reaction when the Myles Garrett news came down today? Because as a Ravens fan, you definitely love to see it, but it's also just that kind of bit of like, holy shit, the Rams just got so much better.
They did. I was, kind of excited as an AFC North fan. I thought it was a little bit of a win-win, like what are the Browns doing with this insanely valuable asset? Like just doing nothing for their team because they're not actually winning. Let's ship them off to a team that knows that, they'll do anything to win. So I thought just from like an objective standpoint, I thought the Browns did pretty well on this trade. You get Jared Verse with lots of control. Obviously, he's very good. Plus that a 27 first, which really really good return for them.
Yeah. Tyler, do you kind of worry that this is another little notch that just kind of goes against Puka Nacua? Because obviously Matthew Stafford ran so pure last year, like their almost 8% touchdown rate. And, it was a bit of a bit at times in the Sanctuary Discord that Puka Nacua never scores touchdowns. And then he goes out and scores more receiving touchdowns in 1 year than the previous 2 combined. But the Rams defense did allow teams into it. Like, they weren't an excellent pass defense. And now they went out and got Trent McDuffie, made a few other additions there. And then you bring in Myles Garrett. Like, do you think there's an argument to kind of flip Puka behind JSN at this point?
I don't think so. What do you think?
Yeah, that feels a little too cute. I had this exact thought. I'm like leaving for my lunch break. # corporate fishbowl. Shout out BBG. And I'm like, holy shit! Like Jared Verse is a really good player. Myles Garrett is obviously an unreal player. This is like peak JJ Watt going to a contending team. And so I couldn't help but think of like. This makes me think of the Dallas Cowboys when they had Micah Parsons and they were playing like half of football games because the defense was scoring so many touchdowns. They were doing so much of the work that the offense could take like 1.5 to 2 quarters off. And now Aaron Donald's like working out and saying, I'm not done yet. And to me, that's wild considering that like I'm having thoughts about like how much does the offense actually have to do? Is this like the RB season because they get to just say like, hey, Stafford and co, like, let's just keep the house in order and let's just make sure the playoffs are where we're at. Like, I think it's like a legit concern. I think JSN has the same level of concern just with like maybe less mouths to feed. But a new offensive coordinator, I personally have had CMC and JT over JSN because I think that, and shout out JJ Zachariason finally saying what all the little streamers have been saying of like, how different is Amon-Ra to JSN? Truly, all things considered. Whereas the running backs feel like they should be ahead of those tiers as far as just like the power of their position. So I do think there's a kind of a risk that like the Rams ceiling is in question, but we're up here on the, 101 #blessed. Nez, tell us where we're going here at the one hole. Every one of these guys has a reason to go. I think I know who you want the most, though.
I do want Bijan. Want Bijan, man. It's so like it's such a funny argument. It's like the Virgin versus Chad meme where it's like you have like the Virgin like, no, Jahmyr Gibbs is on the better team and he has no more David Montgomery, like and all this stuff. And then you get the Chad that's just like Bijan, just Bijan. Like Bijan go Burr, man. Bijan. Like, yeah, no kidding. The Lions have a better offensive environment, but Bijan's just better, man. Bijan's just better. So I'll take the better player.
I think there's still questions about the Lions. Like, I'm not.
That's fair too.
Assume, like that they're just going to be back to where they were. Like their offensive line still got a lot to prove. I don't think it's that easy for me. But yeah, Bijan Robinson. Like, there's something about the way he plays that I just get drawn to.
Yeah, it's a tough call. Like, I'm not going to pretend that it's not, but I'm a Bijan guy.
I think the one thing that it is so granular, right? It's 101. You're having to nitpick these guys.
Sure,
they're both awesome. They both take over games. They both see a shitload of targets. I've seen more absolute nuke ceiling games of Gibbs. I've seen more 10 target games from Gibbs than I have Bijan. And that's where like my heart goes like, man, if someone's going to actually break fantasy football this season, I do think it's Gibbs finally getting like a healthy offensive line and no Monty. Cause I do think Isaiah Pacheco is a joke and very, very washed. And so from that standpoint, just consolidating things, we also saw the new OC come in is like really good for the run game. He helped James Conner be like really, really, really good for fantasy football. And if shit hits the fan, Daddy Dan Campbell is going to come in, put his 20,000 ounces of espresso on the table and say, we are feeding Amon-Ra and Gibbs and no questions asked. And so that feels very nice whenever I look at, is it Tua? Is it Penix? Is it who's starting? That it does feel nice. But then I look at the playoff schedule and remember that Goff kind of sucks away from home and outside in the cold. And week 17 with Detroit, Chicago is in Chicago. And then I look at who Atlanta plays, which is New Orleans, and I go, I do like dome games and Bijan Gobert. So it really is just like,
you know, in that one is going to be drawn up by Kellen Moore as well, obviously.
Yeah. And Underhill has said not famously, but he did say that, like, I think he retweeted or said that basically the Saints defense is just like not good, not a good unit, not a good unit. So if you do want to forecast, I don't like to forecast like defensive performance, but Underhill knows the team.
Do you prefer like years like this with the 101 where there's a bit of ambiguity to it? Like, you know, there's good arguments either way. Like we've had so many years where it's just, okay, CMC auto smash, Justin Jefferson auto smash, and it's just kind of a layup. Do you prefer when there's a bit of ambiguity here, or would you rather it was just...
No, I like when the field is definitive. I like when the field knows who the 101 is, because I think CD was the 101 like 2 years ago, and I was just like not doing that. Just like, no, thank you. There was way too much systemic risk there for him, in my opinion. And, you know, that was nice because that he was not the 101. He should not have been, but that, you know, things went wrong. But that was the whole thesis for me. I was like, oh, well, I'm going to take CMC. I think it was that year or something or other. So I like when the field is very confident, because if I do happen to disagree, I love to just, I love to look right. You know, it's not even about winning money, man. I just want to I just want to look correct.
It's just the equity, yeah. Equity.
All right, so we're on the clock here. Gotta focus. I'm just gonna like say some names, and you guys can ultimately
Give me a
say,
cue.
Yeah, Love is cool.
I know you don't love Love though.
I don't love, but like, let's be real, man. It's Jeremiah Love. Pickens is totally fine. I do like Breece Hall. I think I'm like kind of really in on Breece Hall.
Cool. I'm good with Breece here. So let's talk about the second selection. Where do we want to go from there? Are we ripping it in with 3 running backs? Are we getting a little correlation in Olave? Are we just taking a good offense, good player?
Where are you at on Shuck?
I love Shuck.
Let's take Olave.
Yeah, I'm going with Olave in that. That makes plenty of sense. I think, you know, that week 17 fixture aside, I just think the pace, the development that's going to be there is going to be worth it. And as you say, Nick Underhill saying that the defense looks pretty bad, if that forces them into even more high-paced shootouts, that can only be good for Chris Olave.
Yeah, and it's already an offense that, like, Kellen Moore historically has, like, and you know, we've been saying this for months now, and it's not unknown. It's Kellen Moore is one of those OCs that's like, and head coaches now, very good for fantasy football. Like, just from a volume and pace perspective, there's going to be a lot of plays. And where there's a lot of plays, there's a lot of points. Go look at the Cardinals last year with Jacoby Brissett. The results on the football field can be underwhelming to bad, but if there's a lot of plays, there's a lot of points to be had. And last time I checked, Nez, we're trying to score the most points. That's pretty important.
That's what it's all about. I came away from last season like very impressed with Shuck, and I just don't know if I'm too fantasy football brained or not, but I was like way wrong on Shuck, and now I think, I don't know if I'm overcorrecting or I'm reacting appropriately, but given the, you know, ambiguity of the second round right now, I think Olave is like, you know, totally worthy of being, you know, at where he is here, and maybe even a little bit of a, you know, an earlier pick, but you don't have to get over your skis here.
I think there's a lot to be said about, like, when you look at Shuck and Rattler, I don't see a ton of differences. Like in the film, I can see some good sack avoidance. I can see some slightly better arm angles, some slightly better anticipation, but zooming out, those two guys don't look a whole lot different. So what that tells me is that this is a lot like, I don't care who's throwing the ball in San Francisco or insert Shanny offense. I mean, look at LaFleur with Love and Willis. It's just, they're going to be offenses that make it easy for the quarterback. And that's good for fantasy football because, again, the floor is high. If Shuck misses time, I know Rattler can step in and still make sure that the weapons in Olave, ET, and Jawan are fed. I can't say that for a lot of other offenses. So I don't know how good Shuck is. I don't think it cares. I famously said that about JJ McCarthy last year, egg on face. But more oftentimes than not, that heuristic of investing in offenses is more worthwhile in fantasy than not. And I think the point you made there about the cost is salient. In these early rounds, I think the smartest thing you can do is, like, think of it like investing. Invest in some of the safest places you can to avoid volatile stuff early where it can kill you, and then take your risks later when it's not going to kill you. Like we saw BBM winners with like round 6 Alexander Madison. I don't think you're going to see a round 3 Madison on a winning lineup, right? So it's like, in the first 5 rounds, you kind of do want to avoid just like totally stepping on a landmine and blowing the leg off of your beautiful, beautiful roster. And I think investing in a high pace, like lots of plays, easy button offense with a very good receiver is where we can just say there are too many easy buttons here to say this is a bad bet.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to like gotcha here because this is actually like something that I agree with what you said. And that line of thinking leads me to wanting to be like a Josh Allen contrarian and actually have like 8 to 10% Josh Allen in my BBM portfolio because all the sharps are off him.
Everybody says, "Oh, it's too expensive," and I go, "Who is the one guy that plays through any injury under the sun to go score 25 plus fantasy points?"
He projects like 60 points better than the QB too. Like, yeah. I think that we are like not quite understanding like what you get when you draft Josh Allen, and it's like a guaranteed not bad pick. Like maybe there's QB values that are better for sure, but there's something about, and maybe that's not the way to play.
The risk bands are higher. No one wants to talk about the risk band.
Sure.
Like the risk band is much higher, and Allen's the only quarterback I will go 2 quarterback with and feel optimal for the playoffs. No other quarterback I'll feel good about that. We're on the clock. Who is the player we want to take here and talk about the next guy?
I would like any of these running backs here that you see other than Bucky.
That's the right answer there, yeah.
Tom, give me a name.
Fine. Or DeAndre Swift either as well.
Cool with that. Yep, he's included.
All right, I'll pull up Swift for some Chicago. And then what do we want to do here with this 4th pick? I'll scroll a little bit because at the turn, I don't think there's any reaching that's suboptimal.
I'll say let's do some Jalen Waddle.
How confident are you in Jalen Waddle this year? Do you think it's going to unlock in a way that we've not really seen from him? Because obviously,
I think I'm very confident. I mean, I don't know, no disrespect to Cortland Sutton because I think he's like underrated, but he's never commanded a target share like how Waddle has at any point in his career. And I think we're looking at, he's drafted as a wide receiver 1. I think he will be the wide receiver 1. And I think he just handles volume better than Sutton does. I'm really, really excited to see Jalen Waddle in a really good offense because maybe he's not as good as he was in his rookie year and in his second season, but man, I love this dude coming out and just really excited to give him a second chance at a discount.
Yeah. And I think an underrated part about Waddle, sorry to cut you off, but I just Sutton is a trade candidate. Like mid-season, we are hearing whispers of the Rams and some other contenders that are unhappy with their 3rd wide receiver spot in a Super Bowl window. And we've heard whispers for a long time that the Broncos are listening to offers on him. And when I go and look at Trade Post 1, they'd save $8 million this year, $23 million next year, $24 million 2028, and $27 million 2029. So he may not be traded this year. He could be traded 2027. But both of those outs either phased out, and it's a Super Bowl contending team. So I don't know that they definitely do that.
Yeah.
But we've seen them make do with less. They did draft Justin Jolly and a couple other skill positions where they could lean heavier if Waddle is the main guy. They were able to get really, really far, and you could arguably be in the Super Bowl without a fractured foot in their starting quarterback. Bo Nix, whether or not they win it versus Seattle, they had a very good chance of being in the Super Bowl within a few points away. So all that said of Sutton could get traded and then Waddle's skyrocketing from a ceiling perspective, and they could simply just phase Sutton out down the stretch of the year and make Waddle a better pick ultimately. But Waddle, same thought of I want Sean Payton up. It's annoying, but in best ball, going to be a lot of plays, going to be a lot of easy button. Bo Nix is not a good NFL quarterback IRL, but he's very good for fantasy because he just gets to throw and run a shit ton. And Waddle's much better than Sutton when all those things are stacked up.
I think it just comes down to touchdowns for Waddle as well. You go from a team like Miami last year who were in the bottom 3rd for passing in the red zone and into the end zone. And then you've got the Broncos who were, I think, top 9 in terms of pass rate when they were down there. And so you just open up those easy opportunities to creep up towards double-digit touchdowns. It's so rare for wide receivers to be a top 12 fantasy wide receiver without the double-digit touchdowns. You're talking about guys like Jordan Addison, who managed not to achieve it when he got 10 touchdowns. And yeah, I think if there's any kind of phasing out of Sutton and they hit it off with Waddle like that, yeah, I'm very confident on him. I know both me and Tyler have got him about 5 or 6 spots ahead of ADP in our rankings. Who do you like on this kind of corner here?
Let me see here. I'm not the guy to draft Marvin Harrison, so we can just take him off the screen for me.
Speak your mind.
Drake May is interesting. I mean, I kind of like Drake May. I like
Drake May too. Yeah.
I think we just take Drake May and not really be concerned about not getting it with AJ Brown. Interesting that Booty was not involved in that trade, by the way. From here, I like Jaylen Warren.
Yes.
I think we do this and we do a 4RB.
Jaylen Warren for us.
Yeah. So tell us, about the Jaylen Warren, Rico Dowdle kind of split that you see coming. We had Ian Hartitz on the channel a couple of weeks ago talking about running backs, and his attitude was he wanted to draft one of them pretty much in every draft.
Sure.
His slight lean was towards Dowdle. Are you still more Jalen Waddle?
Yeah, I'm a Warren truther, man. I am. I mean, I totally understand all of the accolades that Dowdle comes in with. Like, gosh, what a season he had last year, and what a season he had for the Cowboys too. He's good. He's very good. Like, I'm not doubting that, but I don't think that he commands, and this is like could be cope, but I don't think he commands like that Najee Harris level volume that we saw whenever Najee was there. Like Jaylen Warren, like, people were talking about how, Gainwell mogged him. That was a sick little duo, man. But Warren still had like his best season ever. Like that was still like really good stuff from Jaylen Warren. And he's just a good football player, dude. So I'm excited about the Steelers offense in general. I want the guy that's live to catch more passes. I mean, like I said, this could all be interpreted as cope. I just think Jaylen Warren is like underrated at this point. I think people take too much away from him because of, roster construction that they had in the past. And they're like, oh, well, they clearly don't like him. No, I think they love him. I think they actually like him a lot. Like, this is just the way teams are constructed. And he's not a bell. There are no bell cows. He's not a bell cow. So I'm still Team Warren, but I'm mixing in a lot more Dowdle. Like, I am not like, I'm trying not to have my head in the sand.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I wanted to get your opinion on, Nez, and apologies if you've kind of dug into this over the last week, but
no, you're good.
Last week I went on a bit of a zero RB rant on my FFPC stream, and it was right at the same time as Gretch was over on Neil's new channel or new podcast ranting about zero RB as well. How often are you willing to push back on the ADP and the situation and embrace zero RB at the moment?
Yeah, it's funny, dude, because like you, me, and Gretch all went on the same rant, in like the same like week span. We all made like the same points where it's like we the problem was that when we were drafting zero RB at first, we had too much confidence in it being a smash. Like, oh, this is gonna work. This is how the league goes, man. Everybody gets hurt. All the backup running backs score points, dude.
Only running backs get hurt. That's the key pivot.
Just running backs. And guess what, man? They don't matter. There's no skill in being a running back. So guess what? You can just put anybody in there, and they're going to be good at football. And we had so much hubris, and we got totally slapped in the face for it. I think it's still a very viable strategy. I don't think that it's like you don't go into a draft and just do zero RB because you want to do zero RB. Like, you absolutely need to be open-minded. Like, if you are not going to be open-minded, you're going to lose. Like, you need to take what the room gives you. I am just way more willing to go zero RB than I think everybody else is. And I'm willing to draft a team that feels uncomfortable because it's supposed to feel uncomfortable. But if it hits, dude, like, you're looking at an insane team. Like, I get that the percentages and the likelihood of these, scenarios happening are slim, but, I'm trying to beat 672,000 people in a best ball tournament, bro. Like, this is, you gotta do risky things sometimes. So yeah, I just think people kind of lost the plot about zero RB. It's not dead.
Would you say zero RB is risky business?
You want me to do a dance or something right now?
No, I'm told bits are
business
dead.
Dance. Yeah,
I'm told bits are dead.
Bits are dead. No, bits don't win you competitions.
Absolutely not. So I do not mind taking two quarterbacks from the same game, especially if that game goes off, stack with Waddle.
I'm cool with Knicks here.
Okay, so who else do we want to take here? I'd start up a few guys.
Man, you're a big Ricky guy, huh?
I'm a huge Ricky guy. It feels like a very clear breakout. And again, an offense I want to invest in. I think Evans puts Ricky in a great spot to soak up like move target types of guys. And we've seen his ceiling when healthy without a PCL be like 21 points per game in half PPR. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, take Ricky. I'm like, man, I'm just kind of hoping you guys are right about him. He did have a really good start to last year and was like super hurt, and that's probably why he didn't have like a good middle of the season whenever he first came back from that injury. Yeah, I'm trusting you guys on this, man. I think
it's a bit of two things. I think we kind of saw it with Egbuka, right? Where it's like injuries pile up, and then that's not just with the player. Injuries on the rest of the team pile up. So like Evans gets hurt, Godwin's not available. The film bros are telling me Egbuka's got to play a different type of position than suits him. And we've seen that be something that it does impact guys. Like Godwin playing him on the outside versus in the slot is a different, set of circumstances. By the way, Josh Downs moving in, outside. I'm sure his efficiency from the slot directly goes right to the outside, and it's all going to be a 1-for-1 match, and he's going to score 1,000 points. Be careful about, small sample efficiency when going to the outside. But from a Pearsall perspective, I do think that in the same way that like Ted Hurst and or McMillan playing the X allows Egbuka to play the Z role, which does suit him better per what the film bros tell me and what I see when I watch him like running routes. It makes sense. Same thing with Pearsall, like with the offense healthy last year early on, himself included, he was able to be this move guy. He was always intended supposedly to be like the Debo replacement of like move him around the formation, give him some like easy releases, and ultimately let him be like a strong yak and intermediate field guy who does have some field stretching ability, but that's not his like bread and butter. He injures his PCL after week 3 and then also has to come back and step into a role that doesn't really suit him. And much like we heard with, Jawan Jennings when he broke out of like, Kyle said, hey, what Pearsall was able to do his rookie year and then last year, like he ran better routes. He was more versatile than we thought he would be. He really stepped up in a big way. It wasn't friendly for fantasy, but the fact that he is getting like a full route tree, he is getting like challenged to run big boy routes, and he has shown the ability to, for small stretches, have a really elite fantasy ceiling. And it's an offense that is going to score a shitload of points, potentially have no Kittle for early in the season or hampered Kittle. And by the way, if Evans gets hurt again, who is catching the ball? So it's like there are just a lot of outs for Ricky to be good at cost that has a lot less like thin margin for me personally, considering he's also a year 3 player. And we just saw like Michael Wilson in a year 3 setup like blow up. To me, I think it's too cute to say, he hasn't played enough football. We just haven't seen it yet because we know the injuries go both ways. Like guys get banged up. Like Puka early on was like hampered by some injuries that, derailed his like full ceiling until he could play like, all this healthy football. So to me, it's just like there's enough clear signs to tell me that just invest and hope it works out and let the cards fall where they may, because I'm going to kick myself in both balls if I'm taking guys like Pittman and Myers over the year 3 breakout every time and I miss the ship.
Yeah, good offense too for Ricky. I'm with Tom said that he doesn't take him very much, and I neither do I, but I do think he makes sense on this team where we're probably going to be drafting a lot of wide receivers. And, Tom and I both acknowledge there's risk here, but the upside is immense. And he's one of the key pieces of this team being good right now is like this dude pays off for sure.
How often are you taking 3 quarterbacks in BBM? Are you trying to push the envelope with guys like this? And I like both floor and ceiling of May and Knicks with how much they throw and they run, but, figure I ask because we do have Shuck with Olave if we are.
I'm not 3 QB on this team.
Okay,
no.
Cool.
Okay, so Wandale makes sense and Romeo for the stack.
Yeah, I like both those picks. I'm not really like into Aaron Jones, and we can hit tight end next. I like both these picks here.
Yeah, so, if Kelsey was here, I'd be a little interested in maybe like starting tight end, but to me, this feels like just a settling for something and. And like Dubs may fall a little bit, but ultimately I think like he is we've priced him in like AJ Brown's coming for a long time. So I don't really know that we see much of a Dubs fall. And he's still playing perimeter in an offense we like.
Yeah, so, we like him.
I just want to tie a bow on the zero RB stuff for now. I'm definitely coming back to it in a big way. But you go back to 2024, 21% of drafts on Underdog BBM was zero RB in terms of not taking their first running back till after round 5. Last year, that fell down to 6.6%. Like, it fell so massively. If you had to guess, where do you reckon that number lands for 2026?
So the last number was what percentage again?
So it went from 21% in 2024 down to 6.6% in 2025.
Wow.
I did not think it was that low.
It was really low last year. We kind of like, it was really low last year. It was really low. And I thought it could have even been, and I was still drafting RB heavy, and I was still drafting RB heavier than people were. And it was really low. I think it goes 5%. There's not a lot of room to run at that point. That. Yeah. So I would say 5%. We're in a pretty RB heavy, meta right now. I need to look at, my final boards from the last 3 seasons, because I do really want to visualize the shift that the boards have made. Because this year, like last year, like I said, I went really RB heavy. I was really big on JT, Derrick Henry, guys like that. And it worked out really well. But this year, it's like everybody's, I'm trying to, I don't want to fit in too much. It just never works out like that, man. It just never works out like we think.
What, doing exactly what everybody else does doesn't win you all the money? This is news to me, Nez.
I know it's a foreign concept to a lot of people, even to me. I don't win that much, but I had my first, coming off my first profitable best ball season. I got a little, got a little.
Well, and Pete did declare you the winner of BBM 7 today on stream. Don't know if
so he mushed him. That's what I'm hearing.
Did he?
Yeah, he said he was asked if he could give anyone within the best ball streamer sphere who he streams with the BBM 7 winner. He chose yourself, so
Oh, is that I don't know if that's a good thing or an absolute curse, but I mean,
I would have been like, please pick Maddox so that no one feels bad about mushing him.
So outside of Jaylen Warren, who we talked about, you were pretty strong that you wanted Aaron Rodgers back, right? And how are you feeling about that offense in general, Mike McCarthy?
I wanted him back this year because that was the way that the roster was set up. This roster makes the most sense with Aaron Rodgers. I got to be honest, I am pretty hopeful. Last year, I did not think that this was a good team that the Steelers had. It didn't take a genius to look at the wide receiver 2 of Calvin Austin and be like, oh yeah, this team's not going to actually make noise. They had some good games. This is a legitimate offense that they have. And I thought Aaron Rodgers actually looked kind of good last year. He made some really good throws, converted some really impressive third downs during the season, not in the playoffs against the Texans, but yeah, I'm kind of in on this offense. I agree with where a lot of the projections are on the Steelers, and that people still think Arthur Smith is there. Hunter Henry's an absolute slam dunk, and I am also team Juwan Johnson, willing to concede to you guys on that though.
We're big Juwan Johnson slappies around here.
Totally into drafting, buying into an offense without the quarterback. I think it's absolutely fine.
Yeah. I mean, for all the same reasons we made that we're into Olave, sure, Juwan kind of ran hot on volume and stuff, but could he not do that again? I like Tyson a lot. He's a first-round receiver. He's also a guy that has been struggling with soft tissue injuries. He's still being ramped up. Guys get injured. Guys miss time. Juwan Johnson, year after year, has been trusted and proved himself to different coaching staffs to be able to step up and actually play a pseudo wide receiver, tight end kind of role, especially in the red zone. And multiple coaching staffs have talked about him like that. Hilariously, kind of what everybody wanted Kyle Pitts to be, which is a big guy running receiver routes, but actually beating dudes. And Juwan Johnson boxes guys out pretty well because he actually uses his body well. So for all of those reasons, there's a very easy course where like if Tyson misses any time, or if they decide that they'd rather run 2 tight end sets with Jawan and Delp instead of Devon, Vele, 3 receiver sets, which I think has a lot of merit considering they just added ETN, like Jawan stands to like not really lose that much more in his ability to earn touchdowns. And again, and a lot of volume and a lot of like pass friendly like scripts. And we're also betting on this game for the finals. It's going to like be a boon for fantasy points. And as you mentioned, we don't need the quarterback to have access to that game, especially if either one of our quarterbacks who have run for multiple touchdowns do the damn thing. So I'm definitely into it because at the end of the day, simplifying things with stacks is not a bad idea.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. You talked about Tyson, obviously. I think I'm going to have very little Jordan Tyson, and I don't like that because I think he's so sick. I think he's very good, but he's got a lot of red flags, and he's a rookie at the end of the day. His price is just a little too high for me. Just a little side tangent on Jordan Tyson. I'm kind of bummed at my exposures right now because it's not a lot.
One guy whose price is not too high for myself is Pat Fryermuth. Like, are you with me on this? But like Pat Fryermuth just seems like its price, as you mentioned before, like Arthur Smith's still there.
Yeah.
And I think like in my raw rankings, I've got him 40 spots ahead of ADP. Tyler's about 20 spots ahead of ADP. Like,
yeah,
I just think once you get down to this, like it's Pat Fryermuth going for 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, I do. The one like bit of cold water that I would throw on Fryermuth is like I really do think that Darnell Washington has a chance to be on the field like 50-50 with Pat Fryermuth. But I'm not the coach. I don't know like how they're going to do their 11 personnel, setup. But like if you can have a 6 lineman that can also like catch passes in your 11 personnel and really increase the threat of the run.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Fryermuth, who's like, not that great of a blocker. I feel like they're going to do that, especially because Rodgers is like on record of loving Darnell Washington. And Darnell Washington, like, popped a little bit here and there. I think Fryermuth is obviously like the better receiver and the better route runner, but like they've got 3 pretty confident pass catchers. I mean, we think Jeremy Bernard's competent. So Fryermuth, good pick in terms of like late tight ends, because late tight end this year, I hear people talk about it like it's good. It's actually pretty bad.
It always looks pretty
it's
bad.
Worse than it's usually been because they've all been priced up.
That's what I mean, right? Yeah, but like the 17th, 18th round, that is not where you get tight ends. I like Schultz here because I just went on that mini rant. I do not like the tight ends like after this.
Okay.
I think Schultz is a good line in the sand. After here, we were talking about the Steelers. I do like Jeremy. Debo just went. Ayuk just changed his entire following list on IG to Commanders. So if you believe in those tea leaves, we could take an Ayuk shot.
Call your shot.
Let's take Ayuk, man.
Okay. God damn it. That's our first click on Ayuk this offseason.
You guys, come on, guys.
Of all the follows and unfollows, I'd like one my knee is working video. No offense, I haven't seen the knee work in quite a long time.
Let me tell you how this works, okay? A guy doesn't go on Instagram and talk all this cash shit if his knee is not ready to back it up. Like he is not getting along with the Niners. I'm just going to pivot
back to J.K. Dobbins telling us that him and God had been in the lab and that they'd been working and we should all stay tuned. So.
And now look at him. I mean, I don't know if...
Just a few short years later.
Yeah, Ayuk is definitely not with God lately, but he is, he's with the jewelry. He's flexing. I mean, he's on private jets. I'm telling you, I'm the Instalytics guy. I've made that the brand with Jameson Williams. They're different guys, sort of, but they have a lot of similarities. Ayuk is going to play.
Gambles. They're very similar in that regard.
Yeah. Dude, J-Mo loves to gamble still. He's like, I get reels. I scroll through reels and there's one about like what my buddy says when I tell him about the parlay I placed. And it's like J-Mo's little icon floating with a heart next to it. The dude still loves the game. But
dude, he is so ready to retire and just full send parlays till the day he dies.
and eat McDonald's just all day, every day. No, Ayuk. I think Ayuk makes sense for this team though. Like seriously, like I think we're about to draft 9 wide receivers unless we take a turn for a fourth tight end, which I don't think we need to on this team. So I think Ayuk like makes a lot of sense. We're firing a lot of shots at wide receiver. Let's try to hit a home run, man.
Yeah. Shout out Chris. Hit 1,000 subs this weekend. Anyone not subscribed, go and subscribe to the Candyman. He's even taking his sunglasses off.
I love it. I love it, man. I'm glad he did that. I'm glad he did that.
I hate capitulation to Big Pete. You keep your goddamn sunglasses on. You keep your backwards hat. That is you, god damn it. Don't let them change you.
I mean, I agree with the capitulation angle, but like I'm glad he's showing.
It's good to show range. I just I love my sweet boy with his sunglasses, and I hate that the haters won.
I agree. There was a part of me that was like, damn.
Is nothing sacred. I can't even have my sweet boy's sunglasses. They're taking everything from me.
Housekeeping. Shout out Ryan joining the Sanctuary. Genuinely, never a better time to join the Sanctuary. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. UK, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central for Tyler. We will have an announcement on some very cool new stuff, which we will be rolling out.
The boys have been in the lab. You have never been more ready to get your absolute dick blown off by the sheer amount of value that becoming a member will return you. For years, and no shade to anybody, for years now, the best bang for your buck in the fantasy space, becoming a member has been the Fantasy Sanctuary. And one day the boys woke up and said, it's not enough. We're going bigger. We're going higher. And my fucking God, they have brought the absolute fucking sauce, and I'm so stoked for everybody for tomorrow.
For the week.
You're not even lying. You're not even lying. That's just that's just the truth.
Okay, right. Well, that's enough flagellating and stuff now.
I do love the flagellating.
16th round. Like I say, we're probably going heavy wide receivers. It gets a little grim. Are we starting to take shots on guys like Zachariah Branch for that kind of week 17 correlation with Bijan, or what do you like here?
Let's just go straight wide receiver, shall we? Okay. I like Wicks.
I think he'll just move up at minimum.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then from here, like Booty's still around, I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, because
I'm pretty indifferent here.
Yeah, he could just suck it up and show back up. It's if he's not part of any trades.
So he's not at OTAs. I honestly have not been keeping up with K.
Yeah, he hasn't reported for a while.
Yeah. Adonai Mitchell is another guy I like. I'm not really into these rookies, but I could be talked into them. I like Adonai Mitchell, man.
I like AD Mitchell, yeah. I mean, even if you only get a couple of weeks out of him, the nature of it should be good enough.
Low key correlates with Brees too. Like if this Jets team just performs better than people think.
Yeah. I mean, it's just big playability, speed up the game. There's a chance that 80 if Garrett Wilson misses any time, obviously Omar Cooper's who we expect and want to completely crush, but it's very likely that 80 just is the perimeter guy and just sees more valuable targets. We've seen him be more than fine in this offense. We've already invested in saying hey, we think Brees is going to return value. That's probably because he's getting touchdowns. And if the team is getting touchdowns, well, it, lends itself well that maybe the guy running outside routes gets a lot of those as well. And I don't know how much Cooper's going to see the field. First round rookie, but he is kind of like a slot guy. And if they run a lot of heavy personnel, which they absolutely could, if Kenyon Sadiq, first round pick, is healthy, and Mason Taylor, famous second round pick, gives them a pretty viable 2 tight end set with Wilson and AD Mitchell on the boundary.
Yeah. I'm just, I got a soft spot for AD Mitchell, man. I just think he's like an extremely impressive route runner, like very, very skilled. And so,
he's so good at running the route he thinks he needs to route. He's so good.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, at this cost, like a guy that can be explosive with one catch is very good.
Sure. Right. Like, maybe really, Gino's slinging that thing again.
Well, that's it. Like, we are only a year removed from Gino being pretty good at pushing the ball downfield, and everybody wants to forget about it because it was so fucking miserable in Vegas last year, but like the Jets' offensive line, like it's not an incredible unit, but it wouldn't be surprised to see it finish sort of like 16th to 20th in pass blocking rate. Like they're better than people kind of give them credit for.
Yeah.
And if that happens, he's got a little more time. Let's go.
Yeah, no longer has to throw to the likes of Deontay Thornton, Jack Bash. I mean, Trey Tucker. No disrespect to Trey Tucker. Trey Tucker. I mean, it's a way different situation.
Yeah, it's the Jets. They're the bedrock, the bedrock of consistency and hope. I do love like every time I see both sides of it, but I can't help but every time someone pitches me a bull case, I go, yeah, because that's what the Jets are known for, you know, just like things panning out for the better.
I know, right? Wrong? I know, right? Just say that like, do I believe that actually?
I mean, we on the Toxic Tower, we've had so many members come on and like draft teams with us, and we end up in these fucking like double and triple Jets Geno stacks, and I'm like, guys, I like hope as much as the next guy, but it is the fucking Jets. Like,
I know. I do think they do make sense as a stack though, just because they are.
They absolutely do.
Just because it's baked in. You know, it's baked in that they're not going to be good, but
it's not baked in for Garrett Wilson.
I think the two kind of arguments I'm trying to avoid using this year, and it's been a slow progression to get to this point, a bit of healing in my life, is someone has to catch the ball. That one has gone wrong numerous occasions, and the offense has to be better than last year. Like, those kind of things just have not always worked out for me in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing is, so I totally agree with you, Tom, there that those arguments are not solid and they don't hold up. I don't think that Garrett Wilson is priced in that they're not gonna suck, because we were drafting him in like the first round not long ago, second round not long ago, and he still goes behind Malik Neighbors, still goes behind wide receiver 2s.
We're on the clock real quick. Are we taking a 9th receiver, and if so, who is it going to be?
Yes, Tyquan Thornton or Skylar Bell for me.
Ooh,
Skylar Bell's kind of fun.
Yeah, let's go the Buffalo guy.
All right, let's go.
What if Skylar takes Keon's job? I like that angle.
I think they like Skylar Bell because he's a veteran presence. I mean, he's like 25. The
Tyler Shuck of wide receivers, many are saying.
I believe he's older than Keon Coleman.
That's fucking hilarious.
Buffalo, yeah, so he's more mature. Or maybe I made that up. Hold on, July 5th. No, he's just barely younger.
No, this is like the bit that Braylon Allen just turned 20 every year. You know, like it's close enough to be true that it is true for the bit.
Yeah, but I'm a sucker for good college production, and Skylar Bell had good production in college, and we kind of have been dreaming about a good wide receiver with Josh Allen for a while. Skylar Bell really, really cheap right now, and yeah, he's got to beat out Keon Coleman, Keon Coleman's going to beat out himself. No crazy pun there for you, Tyler, but he is going to absolutely play himself off the field.
Any Cookie Monster would beat himself up for anything. But no, I mean, and to your point about Garrett Wilson, though, of like, yeah, we're not really pricing it in. I think the difference is like in years past, he was like the only weapon for Aaron Rodgers or the only weapon for Justin Fields. And look at what DJ Moore did. Like some of those arguments were kind of poor and had a little bit of like fragile volume to them, even if you could see the path. And you saw a little bit of it last year, even like in a small sample of like, well, yeah, the JSN thing of like, if you see 35% of targets on a bad team, like that can be really powerful if you're really good. Pass volume is important. I think for this year, like, yeah, you're getting him much cheaper than that, partially because we've seen him, he wasn't as good with Rodgers as we would have liked. Granted, Devontae Adams was there, but like we saw him not be as good of a route runner as like some of the ways he was stepping out or just not completing the pass. And like, that's a reason why Adams was in town. And then looking at like who's coming in now, we have a 1st round rookie receiver. We have a 1st round tight end. So these are pass weapons coming in. Breece Hall is extended. He's a pass weapon. He's got a really high like target, ceiling for a running back. And so now it's not as clean as the like 30+% of the targets. He could still do that, but I think reasonably you have to kind of adjust that down a little bit. And now it's like, how many touchdowns do the Jets throw for or score as a team? And then you bake in some of like the implosion risk of the head coach getting fired. What does the interim coach look like? How do they play these things? It makes a lot of sense to feed their guys, but they have made a concerted effort to like try to like build and like, grow and develop some of this youth talent like AD Mitchell and now the rookies, where I'm like, the price is fine. I see both sides to it, but I do just want to caution my own self from like full sending on a guy who we might overrate a little bit of the talent and a little bit of like the true ceiling with what is there. If like, again, because I have no reservations myself that this is like a top 15 offense by any means. And I think that's the only way you like get through all of those worries if you do get to that. Now, can they have like a really strong stretch or just like they overperform on the season as a whole? Like for sure. But like that's my like worry when I'm building out like heavy jet stacks, like 2 or 3 guys. Like
I think that's how everybody feels for the most part too, except for your guests apparently. But yeah, I do think
co-host, a one Mr. BBG just says, "Fuck it, we'll send it on the Jets."
I love it. He's a homer, I think, which is weird because he's in California, but I know he's a Jets.
Yeah,
fan.
the Jets thing still doesn't make sense to me, but a
lot of things don't. But that's why we love BBG.
This is true. We love BBG.
Hell yeah. Well, let's recap his team, Tyler, if you could, and then after that, maybe we'll talk a little.
So noted zero running back bro Nez helped us build a hefty, robust running back room. And I like the guys we got because if you'll notice, high pass catching upside, mostly good offenses, and really all of them have had strong like ceiling fucking games. So Drake May, Bo Nix, 2 quarterbacks, suck at 3 quarterback bros, including myself, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Warren. Famously had a huge 25-point game last year. And what no one really talks about is that what if he's the Kenny Gainwell to Aaron Rodgers?
MVP.
No one wants to think about it.
Give Jalen 75 targets. Watch zero running back bros everywhere get really erect. Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Ricky Pearsall, Wan'Dale Robinson, Romeo Doubs, Brandon Ayuk, Dontavian Wicks, Adonai Mitchell, Skylar Bell. We really slapped it the fuck up late. And that's what you got to do when you're taking just a shit ton of receivers. Hunter Henry, Juwan Johnson, Dalton Schultz at tight end. Very cromulent, good floor, good ceiling. All these guys have been much, much high. I was flat out wrong on Dalton Schultz last year. And I in person week 17 watched Dalton Schultz run a fucking boundary route, beat a cornerback and catch a touchdown in the fucking corner of the end zone. And I was like, you know what? I was wrong. This boy can play.
Yeah.
And they gave him more money. So
and they did.
They get cost.
I really like this team. I think this is how you do these, these 4 running back builds, right? Like I love our wide receiver 1 and 2, like, and most of the time, if your wide receiver 1 and 2 aren't having good seasons, like no matter what your build is, like, your team's dead. So it's a given that, we are, saying that these 2 are having good seasons. And then we we meshed a lot of really good players together after that. Like, I think that Wan'Dale will be able to keep a really strong target share, not like 140 targets, but I think he's the second best wide receiver on that team.
Yeah.
He's a really nice pick to compliment off of Ricky where, this could be an up and down season for Ricky, but ultimately we think we're going to get ceiling there. Ayuk, really good gamble, I think, for this team, paired with Romeo Doubs, who they just signed, and we have him stacked up. We like that offense. And then, throwing in Dontavian Wicks, who we think is going to rise, if nothing else. And then some shots with AD Mitchell and Skylar Bell. I mean, we are only trying to fill a wide receiver 3 position if this team is doing what it needs to do, because we're probably going to be flexing a running back if this team is any good. So I really, really like the way that we attacked this draft here. Do you guys, where are you guys at?
Yeah, I'm completely fine with it. I mean, like, you look at the wide receiver room and you can say it looks a little sketchy. But Wan'Dale Robinson coming off back-to-back seasons with 140 targets. Cam Ward needs that underneath outlet so that he can then get the ball further downfield. Mm-hmm. Like, it makes so much sense for him to be able to still have a decent year with Brian Daboll there. Ricky Pearsall isn't somebody I love drafting, but I can definitely understand the decent volume, the decent offense arguments there. Yeah. So I feel pretty good that between those guys, and then Romeo Doubs, who scored a reasonable amount of touchdowns in Green Bay over the years, that I think that this is going to be fine. And then if Brandon Ayuk gives us something, that's what really elevates this team from being kind of okay to being like, holy shit, that's where the value came from, and it lets everything else click.
Exactly. Yeah. There's always like a few of those picks in like every draft where you're like, this is like the bet. Like this entire team kind of hinges upon Ayuk playing football. Not totally, but like if it does, like we are going to have to see the doctor because we are fully erect for more than 4 hours. Maybe a whole season. Who's to say?
I can't wait.
Well, speaking of fully erect for more than 4 hours, Tyler, as somebody who today Evan Silva referred to as, I think I'm going to follow that guy. I like that guy. I can't quite remember the phrasing, but like, has it calmed down?
Yeah. So has my erection died? No, it never will, actually.
Because Tom, I don't know if you saw the follow up. He got the payoff. He finished the job.
Oh, did you? Reeled him in, the big fish.
We always finish. Evan, I tweeted him. I go, Evan, big dog, hit the follow, buddy. You don't follow me. You seen me. You like me. Hit the follow. And he hit the follow. So much respect to the king, Evan Silva. He now follows the emo cowboy. The last rock in his gauntlet has been put in. He's now undefeated in the timeline because he's going to see the best ball takes with the best bits in this space. And that's really what it's about.
Hey, yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool, that one. Like, out of all the people there, like, I'm definitely lucky enough to have plenty of very cool followers, but the big fish is about as big as it is. And yeah, Nez, how close you've been following the So You Think You Can Tout stuff?
Pretty close. I mean, I watched most of the episode today. Like, I know all of the, the big reveals or whatever from today. I've been following it pretty closely, man. It's just, I find it pretty entertaining. I love the guests that he's brought on, and it's just like I'm just always like in awe as a creator to like see Pete do his thing. It's just like this guy's just unbelievable, man. He's the GOAT. Not to glaze Pete, but he did say I would win BBM 7. But he's just like a master at what he does, man. It's just so cool to see.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I mean, we all know this from doing this kind of content stuff, but like the sheer amount of work it takes behind the scenes. And Pete joked today about how he's losing money on this show because he's paying so much for editing. Like the sheer amount of work going into these is fantastic. But was there any particular standouts for you on this challenge out of the entries?
Well, and I think part of the problem with Pete, to get a little behind the weeds as we vamp for our guest here, is that like, he started the new channel from scratch. And so it's not making anything because it's got no monetization whatsoever. And I think that was a choice he made deliberately to like build the foundation for the future. That was a piece he said he took a piece of advice from Nick of BDGE. So it's like, he really is kind of like investing in this show as like a future thing. And as a viewer and as a contestant, I can tell you that like, I've tried to be too cool to watch the show and be into it. And I find myself like captivated constantly by talking about the show, by watching the show. It like today's episode was phenomenal. I had a meeting going on at the same time, and I every 5 minutes turned the meeting down to turn up the volume on the show because it was just so good. The production's so good. The guests are awesome. And like the challenges and the twists and, just like the care really is in this show. And you're seeing the appeal kind of grow beyond the niche that it started in. And that's really cool ultimately.
Yeah. Thank you for stalling as I give my final thoughts and get out of here. I totally agree with everything that you said. And, it's just like I said, just a testament to Pete, man, just being able to put together such an entertaining thing and such it really is an ambitious idea. And the way that it kind of just took off and immediately gained traction and had my attention and was good and entertaining and still is really cool. Congrats for making it to the next round and getting the Silva follow. You are rapidly firing up the odds here. Like a lot of CLV on whoever put money on you to win the show.
Could have seen this coming, truly.
I think you have a you have a really strong chance at winning. So
thank you. You're the only one.
I know what you can do. It's just a matter of locking in. So if you want it, you got it. You want it, you got it.
Before we let you get out of here, Nez, if you were just in the process of setting up when this competition was running, how do you think you would have done on this?
I think I would have done pretty good. Man. Like, I remember when Pete had the ship chasing viewers competition to do like KFCC or the Kentucky football thing. He was like, you can be in this contest with us, but you need to put out a video submission. And I remember I did one, like my, I had my wife edit it and record me doing it. I'm walking out and I'm like, like, what's up? I look tough. I got like a rap song playing. And then I hit him. I kind of ripped this bit, but I did the, hey everyone, like my name's Nez. And this is before anybody knew who I was and everything. So I was always trying to get myself in there. I think I would have done pretty solid. I do. I've always been someone that likes to be on camera and talk shit. So
good stuff. Well, we'll let you get out of here. Myself and Tyler, I'll carry on for a bit. And there's anything in particular people should be looking out for from Badge Bros this week?
I mean, just the usual from us, man. We're really, loving the daily streets. MLB is in full force, so we are really focused on that. We are doing off and on the clock though with Pete tomorrow, so we're gonna do some weekly winners stuff there. That'll be at 12 p.m. Eastern if you want to watch that. Sub to Badge Bros if you haven't. And you guys, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure chatting with you guys. Dude, this is fun. Sick team. Appreciate it, guys.
Of course, brother. I'm glad you got to join us on a day that I got to destroy your boy and send him to the gulag out of the show.
That's too bad.
Classic Nez. Nobody does it better.
So, Tyler, I mean, obviously we've talked quite a bit about your entry, but like when you saw the other entries, and obviously yours was kind of pushed down a little bit further into the running order, how did you feel that Silver and Levitan were going to respond to yours and even the production team?
So I was fairly, I'm not going to lie, like from start to finish, I was fairly confident. Like the only thing that had me rattled was waking up today to see the title of the episode say, "And an unexpected betrayal." And I was like, I swear to fucking God, if I got sold out after bringing the absolute heat and like being such a minch on After Dark with my pool and stuff, like I'm gonna, like, if I get taken out of not my own accord, that'll tilt me to no end. So like that was the only thing I was unconfident about. Outside of that, like I expected a couple duds. I always expected a couple duds. Some of the pairings weren't very good. Some people kind of knew what those were off the top, and I knew that like we brought it from like a creativity standpoint. I was like, yes, if it comes down to a fan vote, Nathaniel and I's goal was like, let's make it one of the most fun ones to watch / one of the most fun and like digestible from an audience perspective. Because if it comes down to a fan vote, I think I want my bases covered on like what I bring to the table as a tout, as a personality, as a fan favorite from just a voting perspective. All the haters and losers can go look at all the metrics. I was number one on the leaderboard. I was the second most engaged tweet of the original submissions. We won the After Dark vote. Like, I know I have good brand appeal, and I wanted the video to be fun and something that people could say, like, even if it wasn't my best work, and the nitpicks were great of like, oh, I was a little stiff, this, that, whatever. You can nitpick to the day I die. I just knew I was fairly confident that we would escape one way, shape, or form. I knew there was no way we're going to be bottom 3. I was like, there's no way. They can rank us low on ball stuff, but like we hit stacks, we hit production well. Shout out you. Your editing was phenomenal as usual. And like our idea and our entertainment and creative value, I was like, no one's going to do what we're doing. I think we'll score really good marks across the board. And those, how will the judges like it? You saw me. I thought Evan would not like it as much. I thought Evan would be like, I don't get it. And I thought Levitan would be like, yeah, but macro, like I think evergreen, digestible content is good. I see what my kids watch on YouTube. It's kind of eccentric. Like, and that's kind of how it played out. Evan liked it a little bit less than Levitan, but they both liked it. The comments about it, I was genuinely surprised about. And I think it was really funny ultimately, like, to see, like, I'm giving Pete the business. Like, people don't realize when I said I'm going to be the heel of the show, I'm healing the show. Like, I'm being a heel to the host. I don't think anybody saw that coming, and I'm happy to do it. Pete's kind of asking for it, to be quite honest. And we love Pete. That's why we give him a hard time. But, like, I'm playing it up. They're like, I am a brand, and people know me, and people laugh and scoff, but it's like fan votes. And then, like, Evan Silva goes, oh, I've seen him on Twitter. I don't know if I follow him, but I see him on Twitter. Like, and instantly you saw that familiarity of, like, yeah, I've been around for years. I've built the brand. So, like, I'm pretty confident that, like, I could go in a bunch of different directions. I know people are sick of the bits, maybe. And it's like, well, okay, but I think that's because you don't watch any other of my content. And what I have found out is that there's a lot of people that don't watch what we do. And I wanted to solve that. And part of coming on this show was to, like, show that, like, I have a full range. I don't think anyone else can do what I do, which is tout from a player's standpoint, health perspective standpoint, an ADP perspective, and then, like, a creative perspective. Who the fuck else is doing the video bits I'm doing while also doing the ball take knowledge shit that I'm doing? Nobody else is doing that. So, like, I'm displaying my range, my appeal. I'm playing the part of a reality contestant, pulling up my story, being a heel, like, collaborating, giving my partners, like, way. You saw me in After Dark play, like, a good guest where, like, I'm taking a backseat to a much more powerful story element. It's like, I don't know what more you want from me if you haven't actually engaged with the full gambit of what it is, while also acknowledging, like, part of this is to be seen and to have engaging content. And in this day and age of YouTube, you got to bring it. And, like, the same old repackaged bullshit isn't the answer. Finding new creative ways and new videos to do it is the answer. And I think I'm showing that, like, I'm not afraid to go wherever it takes to go there, whether it's shoving burritos up my ass bets or, like, skits or whatever. Like, and that's I think what's I'm confident in having fun about, because that's what I don't think other contestants were ready for. Like, you can't outdo me when it comes to going above and beyond from an effort standpoint, a creative standpoint, and a commitment to whatever it is I do, whether that's playing it straight, whether it's going above and beyond, whether it's going in the middle. And the funniest thing to me is when I met with my partner, said, we can't go too bit heavy. We have to kind of, we can be the most creative, but we got to, like, go down the middle. And it's really, really funny that, like, I listed, like, 6 ideas, and he goes, let's do them all. And then let's go big with him. And I go, oh, fuck, man. And I didn't want to be the guy to say no. So I'm like, well, how do we package all these ideas?
That's, like, as somebody who helped you out with the editing on it, the only kind of thing that I would say is, from a narrative point of view,
it was all over the place.
It might have been good to link the wrestling back at the end and be like, that's why 7 times out of 10 stacked beats unstacked or something, and just add that little analysis but tied it in. But on the whole, your point about being memorable and fun, it's like there's so many different ways you can approach YouTube, and so much of this competition showing that.
Yeah.
Like, the way I talk and the way that I portray things is so different on streams to when I record individual videos. The way you talk on these is so different to, like, go back and watch our shorts in season where we're giving away our underdog pick and picks, and it's like you have to play a certain different ways on it.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that you're not being yourself. It doesn't mean that you're not giving the content out in the way you want to. And one thing that, like, you see a lot of people talking about the editing, and obviously, Cups and Rambus was the extreme end of it, because as Cup said, 24 minutes down to 4 minutes, like, that's fucking brutal. I can't imagine. And he did a really good job to keep the narrative in place whilst chopping that much out of it at the same time. But, like, you go and watch short form content. I mean, you go and watch Pete's Deposit Kingdom videos. Editing is a huge part of it, and over time, a lot of people in this competition who are just finding their way with editing will find ways to sneak in more hidden cuts, like throwing in B-roll that people don't really realize is letting you hide a bunch of cuts, and it's. I
Yeah.
think I understand why people are picking up on the editing and stuff, but I don't think it's as big a problem as some. But what the fuck?
Yeah, they were drinking when they recorded that.
That's phenomenal. Like, I think the last time I even approached that level of drinking beers on stream ended up with some pretty big super chats, and the t-shirts were off. But
The best of times.
Yes. So, look, you've got through to the next stage. What do you think, if you could show anything in the next stage, what is it that you'd like to do there? Because you said you obviously you want to rein. You'd thought about reining the bits in, but then the bits worked quite well here. Do you think it's trying to find a way to blend that into more takes? Do you think it's trying to lean into the bits? Is there something that you'd really like to show in the next stage of this contest?
I think what I'm realizing is like no one watches my shit, and that was part of my like truth serum originally, but I was like trying to do it more fantasy. But like in my mulligan that Daddy Pete keeps telling me he's giving me such a leash for, despite admitting publicly I had to be a part of the show because I'm the most voted for in a lot of ways, and I'm connected to all this beef, and I'm also good at this, which people forget. But it's like I've put hundreds of hours on camera in a multitude of ways, shorts, videos, streams, all this shit. You know, like Sanctuary is where I've cut my teeth with you and Rich doing all these things, figuring out what works, what doesn't, but no one's watched it. Like we have a ton of subs, a ton of views. I'm thankful and grateful for all of that. But like in the greater ecosystem, everybody's admitting, hey, I watch what I watch. I like what I like. We barely get outside the fishbowl. We're seeing that on the Toxic Tower, right? We're getting people all the time. They're like, hey, first time ever watching y'all. So like, there's still a lot of eyes out there that don't see anything I do. And then, I mean, how many like contestants have like took what I said and what I did really, really personally because like they had no idea who the fuck I was, and they were like, "What? Who's this big dick guy?" And I'm like, "Dude, no, you just don't understand. I'm not new here. You are." But I've taken that to heart. Of like everything I've seen the last couple of weeks is like, they. And it's funny. I got the same thing with like Nick Rudman. Like people that don't know me think I'm doing a bit. They don't think this is who I am. They don't realize this is just who I am. I'm deeply unhinged in a very controlled manner. I have very little shame. I have a lot of fun, and I really love this shit, and I enjoy the shit out of this shit. And I want to do something no one else is doing because it allows me to do it my way. And if I am going to do it that way, I'm going to try to make it the most of me. And me is whatever I'm feeling like that day or that week. So what I think I need to do and what I want to do, what I try to do this week is like demonstrate that. Like there are several people that know I can tout, but everybody doesn't know I can tout. There are several people that know I'm comfortable on camera. Not everybody does that. And a lot of people think I'm just a bit guy. So what I can't wait is every step of the way, I'm an underdog. And in this case, now I'm being told by multiple people that don't engage with any of my content outside of a little bit of the Toxic Tower, where obviously I'm playing up like a huge raving lunatic with my co-host. And sometimes it's real, sometimes it's not. And then all the bit submission stuff of like the stuff that I do for fun that I genuinely enjoy doing that's creative is like, it's time to show I can do it all. And I can do this. Like I think I just need to show I'm a serious contender. I can legitimately have and host or be part of a show, whatever that is, whether it's a stream, whether it's a video. Like I can do a lot of this. I especially, did you want to stick around for this? I didn't know what your time was like.
No, that's I will bail in a minute. I know you're going to draft.
So I just want to show that like no one's seen me do it. So it's time to just do the damn thing. Yeah. And that's what I'm excited to do is like Pete said, it's going to be a spicy challenge. Fuck yeah, baby. Bring it on. It's time for me to get to do what the fuck I want to do without any shackles. And for that, like, that's what I want to do. Right. It's like, I want to show that I can do it because no one has seen it. So now it's time to like put the pedal to the metal.
It is really hard to break out of like, I mean, we're sitting on almost 5,000 subscribers. But it doesn't guarantee you any kind of amount of views any week. It doesn't guarantee you anything. And you know this from the conversations that we have between the three of us, you, myself, and Rich. Like, all it takes is a shitty Dynasty class, a shitty rookie class to make everything so much fucking harder one year. And so, like, the sheer hours it put in and the sheer effort it takes to tout at times it's not easy. And I think that's been a big wake up call to a lot of people. Like, we talk about like Pete having to start a new YouTube channel for this and like how annoying it is because you can't monetize, but like YouTube money, it's shit. Like
it's not good. Yeah.
The ad revenue isn't good. And you look at Pete's streams, Pete tries to keep the adverts off for as much as possible because viewers hate it. So as a whole, like there is no shortcut. The way you build it is by building that community like you've done with Toxic Tower, like we've got with Fantasy Sanctuary. That is the way that Pete's got it. And then you lean into that. And when you've built that community, that's when people keep coming back. And it's awesome to see you doing it. I'm going to bail because it is quarter past midnight over here in the UK. I will be back on Wednesday for FFPC, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, joined by my good friend Andrew Erickson, Fantasy Pros. Ben Gretsch the week after. That one will be particularly fun. Tyler, I will see you very soon. And please remember, people, big announcement tomorrow. Going to be a lot of fun.
Appreciate you, Tom. Have a good one.
See you later.
Yeah. So shout out Tom, always one of the best editors in the space. And no, so I'm talking about Underdog from the standpoint of like the general masses, like the folks that, I'm looking at the people doing like power rankings of So You Think You Can Tout the show, right? And it's PPR heavy favorite, Cups heavy favorite, Neil, because he can actually bring something to the table of like data. And it's like, well, we don't know what the show is going to be. And in fact, I think part of that is the whole thing of like, it is an undefined show with Pete. It's an undefined thing to do. And from that standpoint, there are people like Marilyn, Nathaniel's mom came on After Dark, said it. She's like, you're odd. I'm coming around to you. So it's from the standpoint that like the people that are unfamiliar with who I am, outside of the occasional random weird tweets and the occasional weird videos, which by the way, that's the other funny thing is like, this is reality TV. I'm having to dial the crank up to like the max. And this is still like engagement. We're still wanting Twitter views. We're wanting YouTube views. Cutting through the noise and like actually getting people to engage with your shit is hard. It's not easy. And the funny thing is I have a really good track record of like being really engaging on Twitter as a tout. When it comes from like health stuff or player takes, I've got several tweets that get hundreds of fucking likes without a check mark, by the way. And like, I understand what it takes to like, and it's not disingenuous either. And that's the other thing is like, I can tout honestly and authentically, and people know that. That's why I've been able to come like a complete unknown chat rat to like where we are today. But that still continues because I still don't have the validity that comes with a big bank in like Chad's following grew substantially whenever he like got a dog bowl seat and went to the damn thing and has had some really profitable finishes in PGA stuff and football stuff. And Sam Sherman with the getting the ADP chasing platform. Now anyone's gonna listen to him because like he's had really good, he's really thoughtful, he's had really good takes, but he just fucking won Best Ball Mania. Like I have not had anything that's given me the validity in this space. And I've also tried to not be like super best ball. Like I obviously am very heavy best ball, but like I do plenty of redraft stuff. I have a few dynasty takes, but like I just talk fantasy in general. And so like that's where I'm talking about of like the underdog of like I'm no one's favorite. If you asked everybody, name your 2 or 3 heavy favorites, I'm like generally no one's favorite. And I love being in that spot because there's no pressure for me to do anything but to bring it and prove people wrong in a standpoint of like doing what I'm not expected to do. I'm not expected to make the finals. We are in a Pomeranian. What is it? 50K up top to first. Fuck yeah. 412. Let's just take some good fucking players. Jamar Chase falling to 4. Always going to hit send on that. Nuclear ceiling. Awesome. One of the best touchdowns, passing touchdown. Cincinnati is like projected for like the most. We've seen what his ceiling is. His ceiling against Baltimore is awesome historically. Without T. Higgins, boom, boom, bam. But yes, no, people that know me, I have a strong base, and I love them. Like, that's why I'm here. Like, y'all have been hugely instrumental in me getting to like kind of play by my own rules in this game up until now. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like, I see all the comments and it drives me, to like, Jesus Christ. I know. What's up, Pat? No spoilers. I'm only talking about me. But yeah, it's like I love getting put behind the 8 ball from like what people expect. Like everybody expects PPR Tyler or Cups or something like that. And dude, PPR Tyler's really fucking good. He should be a heavy favorite. I love that kid. Travis Etienne, let's go. I loved Eric. If Eric was like actually in a space mentally and like emotionally where he could like provide the time, and because here's the thing, this show's taken a lot of work and time. Like it's not been easy. It's been a lot of work to like script and film and edit. Like this stuff takes a lot of fucking time. It's happening a lot of days. Like I'm working full 40 to 50-hour weeks at work, streaming, and then trying to do this shit on my weekends and after like it's a lot of work. Eric would not, I'm barely making it. Like I'm barely squeezing this in my time. We've got, Chad just was on vacation. Cups is about to be on vacation. Like this is eating into people's lives and schedules. It's not nothing. So like, I think Eric, if things were more settled, would have been like really strong in this competition when he brings it. But he gets so wrapped up in like, he has an idea of what it should be and what he has to do about it and playing it straight when he's best off the cuff. And so like, I think Eric would have had to really be in like a mental zen mind space to like unplug and just be him and do the damn thing the way he could. And he'd be a heavy favorite. The energy and the attention he could bring and was bringing early on was not going to cut it. Hell yeah. And that's because ball, Pat. Ball. And then yes, Pat from the Fantasy Dog Pound is joining us here on next week's Sanctuary Best Ball Show, ripping a BBM. I cannot wait because I am using the Best Ball overlay tool. Pat has some really sharp ranks. His CLV is always really, really sharp. The way he plays the game, the tools that he and Josh are, just coming up with. It's really fantastic shit, but also like some of the best vibes. I've been really enjoying Pat's reactions where he's not watching So You Think You Can Tout until he watches it live and reacting to it. And I've really enjoyed that. He's had some good thoughts. He brings good energy. I'm enjoying the rewatch with his reactions. So looking forward to that. I think tomorrow on his channel. No Cap Mac, I think you have a great shot at winning it. Just be yourself. And that's so to answer Tom's question succinctly, what do I want to show and bring in the next week's challenge and the challenges to come? Being myself, like showing people like this is authentically who I am, whether they want to buy it or not. Bits are fun. I like doing bits, but they're not all I do. And they're certainly not all I want to do. And so that's all I want to show, going forward is like, you could sit here and put a camera on me for 4 hours. I can talk football nonstop from a fantasy standpoint, a health standpoint, a market standpoint, historical standpoint. I can list you some pretty close metrics off the top of my head, yards per outrun, targets per outrun. I have really good relationships with people who do projections in the space. I build community. And so what do I want to show? I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that. But I'm a really big, proponent of community. I love this community. I really enjoy doing this. That's why I only do this anyway. I don't go pay enough to do this shit for, the time I spend doing it. I just love it. And I love y'all. So how do I show that? How do I convey that? That to me is the way I'm able to win, and ultimately how I want to win and what I want to do ultimately with it. That's going to be the tough part. Coming up here on 45 pick in the Palm, you can get away with a lot of different structures with a 4-12 advance rate. It is a huge final with 940. So I'm tempted to full send it on my favorite plays. And here between Terry and Mike, I slightly lean Terry. So I'm going to go Terry here and hopefully be able to play a falling Evans or one of the running backs in the 5th round. But yeah, so it's that's what I've wanted to do. Unfortunately, the challenges have kind of not lent themselves well to that. If Pete would have had me on for the Mulligan challenge, Gumby got his Mulligan, but still came on to talk, I would have loved to talk about this. I haven't really been on a one-on-one, I've not yet been on a one-on-one situation, right? I've had to deal with a rug pull with a hater for 45 minutes and told collaborate, and then get shit on for not collaborating. Then I bring the heat and people are like, well, that's too weird. And then Pete's like, yeah, it was kind of cringy and weird. I'm like, yeah, because you gave me with a fucking sandbag and hater who's not good at this, who's been strung along way too long, and you told me to collaborate. Then this week it's oh, be creative. It's so it's very funny how and then coming on After Dark to be interviewed was fun, but it's with my duo partner who's not got a lot of shine. He needs a little bit more reps. He needs a little bit more shine, and ultimately not knowing what's the point of this. Are we actually interviewed? And how does Pete start that interview? Oh, I heard you wanted to give me a hard time and like, give me a lot of shit tonight. And it's like, at no point have I gotten, and this is where I get to be BBG a little bit, gotten to put my foot forward in a way that's not like kind of off kilter. And, so I think I'm Travion, Monty, or Swift here. And I think I'm just going to go Monty. I'm not going to be too afraid of the week 8 bye week overlap. And the full workload is just too strong. And it seems like Hendo continues to fall. So it just feels like I haven't actually been able to like one-on-one talk about me. He's like, oh, we had to drag it out of who he was and why he wanted to be here. No, dude, I wanted to do a submission originally that was going to be different than everyone else's so that it didn't get just lost to the noise of dude on his phone or in front of his camera talking. Like, the whole point was, like, I thought worst case scenario, I'm the most engaged. Like, you gave me parameters of be the most engaged, be the most creative. So I hit those knowing that I could really knock those out of the park. At no point until the mulligan was it like, tell us about you, because I'm more than willing to talk about me. I love to talk about what I'm into, why I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. But how much do people care about that? 145 submissions. I'm fucking glad my submission wasn't here I am and why do I want to do this, because that's not interesting or fun. That wouldn't have gotten me on the show. What gets me on the show, that would have been too much, resting too much on my laurels of who I am and why I'm doing this without being a first mover. I in PPR could have been like two of the first people with those original auditions doing that and maybe get by, but I wanted to give a little bit more. The execution was lacking. That's almost all my fault because of the recording audio and all that other bullshit. But like, I'm trying to give like a much different thing each and every time than what people are expecting, just to show the range and have fun with it. But yeah, no, I mean, for real, I don't understand anybody that thought that, because anyone that watched any of that stuff, and no offense, like to the people that got cut, dude, I feel for Brian Hartman. I like Brian a lot. I thought he was like, I would kill for that voice. He's a hunk. He's handsome. He's well-spoken. I think he'd be a great, and he was a lot of fun on Kamish's channel on Line Things last week. I feel terrible that he like misplayed his hand. He might have gotten cut no matter what. You hate to see that. Hoping for fallen Jaden Daniels here. But like, there were some really wet blankets sticking around that, and then some of the guys that got cut of like, dude, this is hard fucking work. Like this takes a lot of time and dedication with very little return, and you have to build it for a long, long time. I've been doing that for years with my own brand, with the channels here on the Sanctuary and with the Tower, and with my relationships across the industry. That's why I'm here as a total rando that doesn't do this like full time for real. That's why I'm doing this. All right. Hell yes.
No.
Jaden Daniels with Terry. That's why we do it at pick 69. Let's fucking go. And so like, no offense, like guys like BB Chosen, it's like, and it's like, dude, you're going to have a lot of like 0 to 4 viewer days sometimes doing this shit. And then like on After Dark, like Rambus is a really fun personality. He's very engaging for a little bit of time, and him like scoffing at the idea of like grinding on YouTube to like create a platform to get it to monetization, which, as Tom and I just said, doesn't really pay shit. Like scoffed at that idea. It's like, then you don't want it bad enough, because like that's what it takes. You get this platform from Pete. It means nothing if you don't build on top of that. It means nothing if you don't put more effort to like grow that out. And some of these guys just want it. They think it's easy, and it's not easy. It's very hard. It's very hard to talk solo into a cam. It's very hard to like not have a ton of people in chat. It's very hard to put a lot of hours into something that doesn't look like it's growing very quickly. And a lot of these guys just didn't have that. They take it for granted. It's easy to turn on a stream and go. It's very hard to keep people here. It's hard to keep people coming back. And it's even harder to keep doing it when the growth is not as fast as you think it is, because you see all these bigger channels doing it for a lot longer. Candyman just hit 1,000 subs. He's been streaming for years, making content, making video. All right, I have a very tough decision here between Parker Washington and a falling Drake May. I think we're going to do double elite quarterback and just go with God and buy ourselves an extra, yeah, I think we're going to do that. We're going to buy ourselves an extra position. We have Daniels and May as our lone 2 quarterbacks, high floor, high ceiling. Fuck it. Shout out Billy Jones. doing a lot of awesome work. He's been really steering into this build. I'm more willing to do that, as we're here through, for our audio listeners, through 7 rounds. Daniels May, Etienne, Montgomery, Jamar Chase, Terry McLaurin, and Brock Bowers. Very fun build. I will likely only have 2 onesies. And we're just going to fill out probably 6 running backs, the rest wide receivers. Going to be fun. Big nut, no cap Mac. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I think Pete said, like, the prisoner's dilemma was if Brian does choose to cut him, then they both get cut. They both get eliminated. But yeah, so like ultimately, let's see. Nick says, I wonder, since it's down to 10 people, we see some more personal challenges. I think there's going to be a lot more room to grow now in what's being asked and what's going to happen. And I'm very comfortable having it be in my own hands. Having a partner was stressful, not knowing how much work they were going to put in, not knowing how much they're going to fight me. And ultimately, if they're not very good, they're half the fucking video, right? Like that drags you down. That was my worry, is like getting eliminated by not my own means. You saw that with Rick and Jerry. You saw that with, dude, full offense to Zach. Brian did a lot of the work and Zach fucking gets to snake out and cut him. You'd rather them both go down than one. That fucking sucks. So that was my nightmare. It was like getting paired up with a guy who I have no idea how much work he's going to, and that's why I was really thankful for Nathaniel. He put in a lot of work. He storyboarded and scripted out based on the ideas I pitched out and edited some of the script. And my lone regret was I saw that the wrestling like came and went and didn't make like a return. And then I wanted to like wrap it back up, but full-time job with a lot of shit on the line last week, IRL, and then with BBG fucking crashing out. You love BBG, with all this stuff about the tower. It was really hard to like fit all that time in, to like clean it all up. But I knew that if we could just hit the notes, the high notes would help. But I am really looking forward to like a little bit more control of my own destiny at this point, because I think that's where I shine. I agree and disagree, because I think it did help Purple Yoshing the Mayo picks. I think part of it is you have to let the judges have like a good amount of say. I like Levitan and Silva saving and nuking a couple teams. That's the whole point of guest judges, in my opinion. I think you have to have them kind of control the ship a little bit, because Pete has his own biases. The production team has their own biases. They know a lot of us. Like, it could be a little too inside baseball. So I think Mayo helped make sure that there was more diversity of the people here. And I think maybe the one miss was having immunity from last week. Because I think last week, if everybody has to compete and only few people, like if there were like 2 or 3 immunity versus 7, I think maybe that culls a lot of the problem this week with people that made it that shouldn't have made it, right? But at the same time, from reality TV standpoint, you want some of that chaos. You want some of that change up, and ultimately it's good for the show. I'm going to take Ricky Pearsall here, big believer in his floor and his ceiling, access to the Shanahan and ultimately Brock Purdy offense. See what comes back around to us, because we're going to take running backs and receivers here. I don't love Kyle Monangai at cost. The other running backs are so. So I think it was necessary to like change up the types of guys that there were there. But I do agree that I agree with like 85 to 90% of Mayo initially. But certainly didn't agree with some of them. Like what he saw in Rick, I'll never understand. What he saw in Zach, I'll never understand. The fact that Zach is still alive. I guess what is really odd to me is judges saying how comfortable people are on camera. And I'm right there with you. Like, comfort on camera does go a long way, but like, I'm a fidgety ADHD guy. So if I got judged on I'm working on 200 calories today. I am bouncing up and down in my seat right now. Hopefully you can't see that, but I can see how that would come off. And it's like, comfort on camera goes a long way. I don't know that it's the most important thing, because I feel like that's the most easy thing to train is comfort on camera. Some people were really, really bad. Don't get me wrong. Following Michael Wilson, who, I mean, it's not really a value, because it's being pushed down to, fuck it. We're going to take our third running back in Kenny Gainwell. I think it's a big tier break at running back. What he offers as a receiver and as a running back and access to the offense and a different bye week. Do a little 2-3-3-1 build, adding Ricky Pearsall, Kenny Gainwell to the running back room. So I like that we have different guys. I like that guys like Nathaniel and Jerry and Brian made it through to the next round. I do agree. I hate that some of the strong, I hate that Chad, got probably almost certainly because he wasn't able to be at his home setup because he was on vacation. But I don't know how much that pairing gives you as far as juice, because I like Chad a lot. I don't know that Chad would have been the best for that style of content. I don't know, right? I don't know. Because each challenge kind of does poke at weaknesses and strengths each contestant has. You're not going to be good at everything. So, I don't know. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. The blowback has been pretty bad. Because I don't know that you need to be known for people to not like you. And I mean, I viscerally don't like him because of that decision, right? And I don't know him or Brian. I've spent an hour with Brian up until this point. So from a reality TV show, props, because I hate Zach now, and that's just good TV. Mac Nova saying, I think it's fine if there are challenges where the best candidates can be knocked out from bad luck. Yeah, I mean, isn't that like best ball, right? We all have really good teams in week 15 or 16 that don't make it to week 17 because they're balanced, and a worse team, quote unquote, wins Best Ball Mania or the DK Millie or FFPC, drafters or whatever. That's got to be part of it, right? If it was only ever the strongest contestants, the fan voting becomes really hard, and then the judges and the judging becomes really hard. Do we want every challenge to be up until the last, to be decimal points of score between first and last? I don't think so. You need a good mixture where it's it puts people kind of off kilter. I hate to see some of those guys go, but it's good for the show, right? Because it changes up who the favorites are. It changes up who can take advantage of any given challenge. It keeps people on their toes. That's a good show, and that's also a good setup, I think, as far as TV, but also a competition. If it was only if the Super Bowl was only ever the 2-1 seeds, people would get bored of that. It was good that last year's Super Bowl, had the Seahawks in it, right? Had the Patriots in it. That's good for it's good for sports to have people love a Cinderella story. We're on the clock. Man, I'm looking at KC and Dobbs. I have a sneaking suspicion I can get both guys, but I'm going to have a hard time not just clicking the guy on the Patriots with my stack. So I will just stack up and hope that maybe I can also get a falling first round receiver in Concepcion, but it's still the Browns. It's still not my favorite click to make. So you got to have a little bit of Cinderella story. That's kind of why I'm in this contest, a good TV, right? Because Pete's crafting this narrative, right? He's saying it over and over again. Emo barely made the competition. Mayo hated him. He got in on fan vote. That we're on camera claiming I'm botting, then I'm on NASA computers clicking vote for myself. That I had to get pulled out my mulligan. Pete's crafted a narrative, for better or for worse, for true or for not, that I've narrowly escaped defeat in every round. So that's captivating to have me stick around for a guy that keeps missing the swinging blade in the pyramid, while you've got a guy like PPR still strong, a guy like Cups, who everybody had in their top 3 this entire time, be up for fan vote is good. Having a guy like Rambus, who was starting to really catch fire with fans of some fans, obviously, of wow, this is such a different personality. I love this guy. For some, be on the fan vote. That's good. Having a tough fan vote is good TV, but it's also good for the competition. Keeps it engaging. I'm very tempted to just be done with tight end here. I like Jaden. No, let's be smart. Let's go Jaden. I was tempted to go with Kelsey and be done at tight end, but I think that would be a poor decision given Bowers is hitting, and I think I can get pretty good. Kelsey's obviously a tier break, but I can get pretty good tight end at at like the 14th or 15th round. And if I don't go that round, the receiver is going to be dog shit. Yes. Obviously how the seeds were, but they weren't the favorites for those seeds week 1 of the NFL, week 4 of the NFL. They simply weren't. Yeah. And I think that's part of it, right? And Pete's talked openly about this being like the push and pull of the show is, do I want the best on camera? Do I want the funniest? Do I want the most electric? Do I want the most well-rounded? Do I want the most not like me to give me something new? He's not sure. If you didn't watch that video with the YouTube producer at the very beginning, Pete talks about like what's he looking for? And that's part of why the judges are here. The judges are helping kind of craft who's making it, who's not, and also giving their like, and you hear Pete listening to like what they value, what they don't value, what they see, what they don't see. And that's kind of helping. And he's asking them like, what would you look like? So like Pete, through this show is kind of two things. It's contestants vying to win, and Pete also kind of like going to each judge as like a Sherpa and a monk to say, what should I be looking for? What makes a good, like Pete's also kind of using this to like help shape who he's going to pick / who wins. Cause I don't know if Pete's going to actually leave it down to who he picks. Cause he talked about how like he wants someone competent and good at this. He wants someone involved that he's going to enjoy working with, but he's also wrestling with how much control do I want to give myself over that decision? How much do I want to leave it up to kind of how it turns out? And I think that's a good thing for the show. And it's also good for Pete because like how much of it is handpicking? We already know the internal bias. He really likes PPR. He vibes with, he fucks with PPR. He sees, and a lot of people do. PPR is really easy to vibe with. I love PPR. I love hanging out with PPR. He can have anybody. He just had Sacrilegious on, and then he has like a bunch of guys. He's just a guy you can hang with. Is that what he wants though? And I think Pete's like trying to challenge his internal bias of like who he already gravitates towards, because we gravitate towards people that remind us of us and people that we like. That might not make a good show. That might not make the best contestant. That might not make the best reality show. And I think he's aware of that. I mean, he doesn't have better hair than me. And that's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. I have way better hair than Zach. All right, we're coming up here on 141 in the Palm. 3 running backs carrying us. I'm glad we made those picks like we did because I think we've caught up at receiver 2, 3, 5, 1. We're not taking any more quarterbacks. Probably not taking a tight end anytime soon. Maybe this is the Goddard pick, even though Henry stacks. I'm gonna take slightly falling Goddard simply because I don't know why he's falling. With AJ Brown being traded, he should move up, and ultimately his touchdown equity goes way, way up without AJ Brown in town. And that's what matters for tight ends, hitting your lineup, especially in half-point PPR. You dumbass, half-point PPR, Jesus. That's where my brain's at, folks. Had like a little bit of a migraine while Nez was on. Had a migraine and you couldn't tell. That's called host shit, baby. I'm still a McMillan guy. This might be a running back selection, though, ultimately, just for structure. Because RB4 gets really dicey really quick. And I don't want to have to double tap these guys. I don't think I can take Tucker. I will, but I won't like it having potentially 4 of my 5 or 6 running backs having overlapping bye weeks does not feel optimal. So I don't know that I'm going to do that. So I'm tempted to kind of send it on McMillan, who's getting some pretty good buzz right now and ultimately might be a little overly hated by the market. Yeah, we'll do some McMillions. I like McMillions. He's shown a really high ceiling as my wide receiver 6. Why the fuck not? I haven't been taking as much of him since pre-draft. I think now is a fine time to jump in. Yes, exactly. Goddard, like his target share and his touchdown equity go up a lot without AJ Brown. Matt Nova saying the advice to the content creators along the way is really good. Dude, this is a mass. I said this in the Toxic Tower Discord. this entire show, if you're listening to what Pete says with just the show, but like the After Darks, in the like, in what he's replying, dude, shout out. Peter really is like engaging with everybody and anybody. I couldn't believe he was actually looking at Rambus's fucking DMs. I can't believe he's retweeting anyone that tags him. Like, he really is just like giving anybody and everybody a platform. I think that's doing harm to some people that are getting really big egos really big quickly and realizing that once they're no longer like attached to the show, you don't get the Ano Pete retweet, and then you go into the abyss and you have to like make it on your own a little bit. And that's what I don't think a lot of these newbies really, I think they took it for granted. They didn't really understand of like, you have to have your own legs to stand on. You won't always have the Pete shine or the Pete bump. And I don't think a lot of people getting into this understood that. And those of us that have been around a while know that very much. So like the Pete bump, the Corain bump, the whoever bump, it's huge. It's awesome. It's great. I love it. I want it in my mouth. But it doesn't last forever if you're not attached to that train. You have to make your own way. You have to make your own brand. You have to give people reason to give a fuck. I don't think a lot of people have done that. But at the same time, like this show really has been like really good advice. I can tell you like we're thinking of things, and it's things that Tom and I and Rich have talked about from a content perspective. It's things I'm talking about with the guys, PPR and BBG for Toxic Tower, of like, how do we engage? And you see, we did that. We were ahead of the curve. We built Toxic Tower with like community in mind. We want this to be for the people that want us and really fuck with us and really enjoy this content, this dynamic. We're not going to make it for everybody. Every time we tried and dipped our toes into something a little bit more approachable or generic, didn't work. And now we have like a really powerful, really loyal fan base that we love and that loves us. Pete keeps saying like we have the most emotional fan base. Dude, we have the most powerful fan base in the entire space. We've had a YouTube channel for 1 year. We have streamed together for 2.5 years max. Only 1.5 years, like seriously, a lot of time together. Dude, us having one of the most powerful fan bases in the industry is crazy. That shouldn't be possible. We have less than 1,000 subs. Someone mocked me for saying like we are the fastest growing channel in the space, but like we've built loyalty and community in a way that no one else hasn't taken advantage of. Hell yes. We get Tajay Spears as RB4 at ADP. One of my favorite clicks right now. Brian Daboll offense, really explosive guy. Fucking yes. I think a lot of people don't understand like building a community of members is why Pete has grown the brand he has, why Ship Chasing has grown the brand they have, why Sanctuary has built the brand and had the longevity that they had. And the people trying to like skirt the community aspect of it to just try to get like numbers and clicks I think they're missing so far wide. It's not even funny. And ultimately that's why I do this. Cause I really enjoy connecting with y'all. I enjoy talking with y'all. I enjoy like sharing wins and losses with y'all. Community is why I do this. It sounds corny as shit, but like, it's why I do what I do. And I love this space. I love y'all. And I'm not going to stop doing it, even if whatever. And that's why I've done this for fucking 4 years now. Up until like the last 6 months, very little to show for it. Very little respect and validation to show for it. I will take a falling Trey Tucker, who I have almost clicked 3 times now. Trey Tucker is our wide receiver 7, feels very nice. I don't know if we need... Got a little double Las Vegas going on. This is gonna be a really strong fucking team. We veering into the 2 onesies has allowed us to take some fallers or some nice pockets at running back and receiver. I feel very, very good about that. So yeah, I mean, I'm rambling now, but you know, that's at minimum, this show, So You Think You Can Tout, for me was always about like getting more into the community. I've really enjoyed meeting new contestants, new people in the space. Goofy, Kamish, Brian, O'Hara. Dude, I fucking love O'Hara. I really do. I don't think he can win this, but I love O'Hara. Nathaniel's been, fun and weird and wild. I'm excited for him to do his thing. He needs a lot of polish, but like we need more eccentric personalities in the space that aren't total fucking dickbags or morons. And we need some morons. Like we miss some of the morons. we need more of the fantasy counselor, that aren't like, robbing people blind and shit. So it's like, it's good to have different personalities. I think this has really been a really good, influx of new blood and new people. I feel really, really re-energized by the new people in the space, the new ideas coming in, some really creative people, some really like electric personalities. I've never felt better about like doing this because it feels like people are claiming best ball is solved with tools and all this shit, just like DFS, but like the community and the people involved are why you do the thing. And I think there are more fun and interesting people than ever in this space doing it for different reasons in different types of formats. And I think it's good for the space. And I think it's good for the games in general. And I'm really excited about building on this. I think there's a lot of fun directions and fun people you can mix and match and pull into things. And I think it's good overall to do. And I really want to fucking win because I want to win something once and shove it down the haters' throats. And that'd be so fucking sweet. Be honest, Pete has to support what I do at that point, which is the best bit possible of like, him having to deal with 2 Davis Maddox from the standpoint of just like dudes that make him roll his fucking eyes into the back of his skull makes me laugh so much. Because I love doing this shit. And I love giving him a hard time. I love giving him a hard time so much. I think Emmanuel Wilson's a very fun click here. People are letting him fall because he's not at OTAs, but it's a personal reason that they have like said is a personal reason. So now I have a decision to make on 8th receiver before I take 2 running backs. Ultimately, I'm really afraid these running backs don't come back to me because this guy's got 4, this guy's got 4, this guy's got 4. Yeah, I was going to double tap Tampa Bay guys. Ted Hurst goes. I am more than happy to add Emmanuel Wilson. So that way, if I have to stop at 5, I have some bye week coverage. I have some full season viability. And I think ultimately Emmanuel Wilson is the RB2 until Charbonnet is there. Charbonnet's not going to be there until weeks 12 to 14 at the earliest. Doesn't mean he's going to be good. Doesn't mean he's going to be healthy. If anything happens to Price, I think Wilson's a pretty good click as RB2 for the first 12 to 14 weeks. Way underpriced for what he can show rushing and receiving. There he is, my number 1 fan. Welcome in, easy. How the fuck does it go? You've been cranking out the fucking the overlay. You've got the free overlay and you've got all the fucking sims. What do your sims say about 2 mid-range elite quarterbacks with 2 doing 2 onesies in a fucking heavy finals contest with 900 plus fucking people you have to beat? I think it's pretty good maximizing these skill positions, but I haven't run the sims to see what they say. 2572, I would really like a rookie running back here in this room. I think that'd be really good because I don't want to click Marshawn Lloyd. I'd rather put an ice spear through my temple. So I get to add Katron Allen. He's probably nothing, but he is a stack with Jaden Daniels, and Rashad White's been replaced multiple times. Bill has been replaced by C-Rod. Why can't it be Fat Boy Allen? I hear he's very fat, which means he's good for the end zone. Yeah, it feels like the round 6 to 7 quarterback range. Obviously, this is a palm, not BBM, but like I see the value that Allen has, and I love it. And that's the thing. I can't quit. Like year after year after year, 3663 really is like the cheat code to advancing through the regular season, advancing the playoffs, and winning Best Ball Mania. Like we've seen multiple times that construction be more than enough for what you need. Ultimately, it keeps you from like overspending at one position, underspending at one position. Like it's just guardrails that give you enough shots where you need them. I'm going to have plenty of 3663. And injuries are a bitch, and you only need 3 receivers. Everybody's like, and Easy was one of the first people to really fight back against like the big ship chaser, get your wide receiver 5 and 6 before your RB3. Obviously that didn't age well because your flex can have a fucking running back, and running backs do project better at a certain point, especially on half PPR. The new meta of the NFL, I think, is here to stay for quite a little while because the offensive lines aren't as good. Less good players coming out of college at tackle specifically. So you kind of want some of that like tight end blocking help. You've got some really big really athletic tight ends coming out. That helps. And you've got like higher injury rates for quarterbacks. And you've got less and less like really talented, really strong, like bell cow running backs coming out as well. So all that together like really makes me feel like, boom. And you're seeing it with these heavier sets, more tight ends. Not every team is doing it really well, but you can't risk like Myles Garrett coming off the edge and like 3 receiver sets, time and time again. Like, especially with defenses having like really fast, really powerful like corners and DBs. So from a meta perspective, you've got less and less receivers mattering. So why not like build where the guys you do take are going to have to matter or toast anyway? And quarterback points fucking matter. I hate to give Liam his flowers, but he's right. Like, quarterback points matter on Underdog, especially. And so making sure you're not losing your ass with floor and ceiling goes a long way. And I think a really easy way to attack that is basically double tapping the really flat range of the draft where the quarterbacks way out project everybody every single fucking week, all season long. And if you go 2, buys you some flexibility. That said, I don't know that it's like, I'm not going to have a ton of 2 quarterback builds because 363, baby. Like 3 quarterbacks matter. I'm going to add Wicks here in the last round. Just a fucking Eagles dart throw. So our final team is 2682 because we did get the following May, and I committed to 2 onesies early because this is the Pomeranian. It is a 940 person seat final. I think advancing out of 4-12 makes it easier to get through. I still want 3 quarterbacks more than not, for the playoff weeks, but 1 of 8 is not terrible, especially if you have a high floor, high ceiling at the onesies, which I think we did with Jaden Daniels and Drake May, Etienne, Monty, Gainwell, Spears, Wilson, Katron at running back. Good mixture of guys with high floors, high ceilings, and some dart throws at backups. Chase Terry, Rizzy, who no one wants to like, I just think is way undervalued for the floor and ceiling he has. He should be going right up there next to like Metcalf. He's just not because of name value. Dobbs, Higgins, McMillan, Tucker, Wicks, just dart those at guys that stack or catch touchdowns or have some interesting profiles coming into year 2 or year 3, or just undervalued target earners that fell to us. And then Brock Bowers and Dallas Goedert for some correlation on Vegas and the Eagles, some touchdown equity. And then what happens if Wicks just runs 70% of the routes because Lemon is, a slot guy? You have to ask these questions. Yosh, our resident Elim winner and supporter. I've been testing out the sidekick lately, and it sure does love some hyper fragile with a shitload of receivers. I've always preferred the more balanced builds, but it's given me a lot to think about. That's what I've noticed with some of the sims I've played with is it doesn't really build balanced per se. It pretty much is telling me wide receiver is either a quality or a quantity game, which I think intuitively we knew that. I've been trying to only do 6 receivers if I take like 4 early total and push those 2 like pretty late, saying I've got the early stuff right. I think the sidekick is really just saying that right now it's easiest to project the floors and ceilings of the running backs and the onesies, and then say we don't know right now for the wide receivers, so just tack on a shit ton. And if your guys stay healthy, that makes sense. If the health deteriorates, you're fucked. So that's where I think the balance builds, the balance builds probably definitely feel too safe and feel too comfy, and that's why we build them. And the Sims say that like it's not as comfy as you think it is with how we're projecting things. But over the course of a season, when weird shit inevitably does happen with scheme changes or injuries or whatever, or just down weeks, right? Like I think 2 years ago when the Bucks were, the Evans to McMillan stack with Baker against Dallas was a stack that would have won a lot of people a lot of money in the finals had it not been bounced the week before when Baker couldn't hit a few throws. They don't hit those touchdowns, and those Bucks teams die. So I think there's like a balance of like that's you're and ultimately it's all thin. And I think that's what the Sims are telling us. It's a thin bet anyway. Push it in on those margins. I would not be surprised if it's less so that way as we get closer to the ceiling. We have the season starting. We have more information as far as like who's playing, who's not, who's a really bad bet, and I think right now that's just telling you the really late receivers. And Mac Nova's talked about this. The really late running backs are really, really bad projectable bets right now versus the receivers. Like in the draft season, I don't know if that's going to be true. Exactly. And you're saying that right here. Like, yeah, more likely zeros than not. And so avoiding zeros late really is helpful because it's just as much like avoiding dead spots. If you can have an active roster that doesn't project like shit towards the depth, it goes a long way. But I won't be surprised if that changes over the course of the draft season as we get more viable targets emerging that we just have some uncertainty about. Sweaty, I'm sure you've been asked this already, but I can't decide between Chase Brown and Hampton. I honestly like Brown more due to their schedule, and Myles Garrett being gone is a nice bonus. Dude, I am really struggling with the second round as well. In my heart of hearts, I have Chase ranked over Hampton because while you can say that he was still sharing work with P. Ryan, while you can say that he ran hot on touchdowns, he was targeted a lot in the red zone, and that matters. That matters a lot. It's an offense that projects for one of the Bengals project for some of the highest team touchdowns. They have a top 4, it might be top 3 easiest schedule. That's good for the running back. It's a system and a scheme he's familiar with. He's not changing OCs. He's not changing head coaches. This is a team that's like full sitting in this window right now. We've seen that when the shit hits the fan, he can get a lot of targets specifically in the red zone. If P-Ryan never dies, he gets all the work. And we see that when he gets all the work, he's a top 5 projected running back every week due to workload. He's got some juice. Like, he's boring, but I think we've underrated him, myself included last year. I kind of underrated him. And we saw with a worse offense, not running hot on touchdowns, he was underwhelming. But then Burrow comes back. They start scoring median like they should. And boom, he fucking crushes. Hampton wasn't as explosive as we would have liked, but we didn't see a lot of him. So like, I can argue for him both ways. I can say new offensive scheme. I think he's the best bet for targets in that offense, but I'm also worried about like 3 running backs, involved, Herbert involved as a rusher. And ultimately, how does Hampton from a real life football perspective, like fit into the Miami scheme? I'm not sure. I'm really not. I have a little bit of concern of like how much he fits in there. He's big, he's fast, he can catch. Those things are good, but we're kind of already pricing him like he smashed last year and he should smash again this year. And that's certainly not the case. We saw a lot more out of Genty than we did Hampton to be really, really bullish about, aside from the targets. Hampton does have the target thing going for him, but then bringing in bringing in Mitchell and having Vidal is not nothing to me. So I see that like if Hampton gets 70 to 75% of the work and they score a lot of touchdowns and they're really efficient, he's probably a smash. If he sees 60% of the work or he's just not as efficient and the Chargers inevitably lose a bunch of linemen and get hurt again, which seemingly happens every fucking year, he could maybe be the Chase, but he could also be the Chase Brown, right? Like he could disappoint for like 65, 70% of the season with all the things I just said. Like I was right about Chase Brown last year where it was like, he's really not hitting. And then he could hit late. So that's where it's like what these guys' full seasons look like in these tournaments. It's the last 3 weeks that matter the most, right? Because like Saquon Barkley crushing fantasy football helped you advance a lot of teams, but he was really fucking dog shit for the playoffs. Whereas JT won multiple people leagues in any format, especially the contest, because he crushed all 3 weeks, including the finals. So ultimately, I can't tell you one over the other for sure every single time because I don't know who's going to smash harder week 17. Week 17, as it projects right now, Baltimore projected seemingly the much stronger rush defense, so a little bit bearish for Brown. Chiefs have been a kind of hard place on the road to play against for running backs. So, and both guys are pretty solid target bets. So ultimately it's like who runs hotter, on touchdowns, who runs hotter on targets and ultimately late. I lean Brown more times than not. And I also do that because like a lot of the sharp slappies are kind of more into Hampton than I'm not. So if I differentiate myself simply by taking some of the guys they don't take in the second round, differentiates me in the finals should I make it is a really big, powerful thing for me. But I do think we underrate the floor and ceiling of Brown, given that we've seen him just consolidate. And I'd rather just bet that when the consolidation happens, it's powerful and let the cards fall where they may. I do think Hampton's a decent bet. I just don't love the overpricedness of him. But Jeremiah Love's kind of the same bet in a way from like pass catching has got to be his out on a bad team. It's just a better team for Hampton, right? But if one guy consolidates, it's probably more likely Love than Hampton, even with Algier there. But like, there's some holes to poke that it's not as clean as I would like it, but I can't tell right now. Am I overthinking it? Should I simplify it? I've seen both sides of it. Ultimately, it's just I'm gonna have to take my swings and see what happens. I'd love to see a little bit more, but sometimes you got to take, I haven't seen it yet. Bets, JSN is a great example of that. Like, played more on the outside last year, moved around. It really comes down to scheme. Mike McDaniel does put his guys in good spots to win. So I'm probably just gonna have to buy in on most of the Chargers, like I am the Bears, to just say that I'm investing in the offense. I don't have to get it right every week, but the price definitely makes me queasy. I appreciate everybody for hanging around. We will catch you next week with Pat from the Fantasy Dog Pound. Ben Gretsch will be joining Tom with FFPC. We have a huge announcement here on the channel hitting tomorrow morning Central, tomorrow Eastern, a little bit later huge announcement. I can't wait. Thank you all for hanging around. Leave a like, leave a comment. Appreciate y'all, and see